Our Miami Marlins are in the World Series, and we've got some damage control to do today with games 2 and 3 on the slate. We're coming off a rough Game 1 loss, 4-0, where the offense completely did not show up in what ended up being a pretty exciting pitching duel between two of the best pitchers in baseball. The National League MVP and Cy Young, Edward Cabrera, faced off against maybe the best left-handed starting pitcher in baseball, Shane McClanahan, and it ended up being all about the pitching. The Rays only had 3 guys get on base the entire game. Randy Arozarena, Brandon Lau, and Matt Thaiss all had multiple hits, and they all drove in at least one run, but the rest of the team went a combined 0 for 21 with no walks. And it didn't matter because Shane McClanahan threw 7 scoreless innings, and the bullpen finished off the job. Edward Cabrera had a great game as well. We had to keep him in a lot longer than normal because the offense wasn't really producing, and it certainly was not his fault that we lost, allowing 3 runs in 8 innings. Our offense has been pretty good in the postseason, maybe not as good as Tampa Bay's, but still it's been very strong, especially with the addition of Bo Bichette back in the lineup. The offense has got to step up. In terms of the pitching, we need a big game 2 out of Sandy Alcantara. Normally we win our Edward Cabrera starts, so the fact that we lost this one is a little bit concerning. Historically, Sandy Alcantara has not been a great postseason performer. His last playoff game was very encouraging. 7 innings of 1-run ball in a win against the Cubs, albeit that was a week and a half ago. It's been 12 days since he's pitched in a game, and on one hand, that might be a good thing. Gives him a little extra time to recover. His arm should be healthy, ready to go. But on the other hand, he might be a little bit rusty, and he might start off a little bit slow, which is not what we want. So it's going to be an interesting storyline to see how he pitches tonight because his last start was skipped since we only needed 5 games to defeat the Chicago Cubs. So I'm curious to see how that will ultimately affect his performance here today against a Rays lineup who is not coming off a particularly great Game 1, needing 3 guys to carry the load. Game 3, it's a similar story with Jeffrey Springs, who also would not have pitched in nearly 2 weeks, getting the start in that matchup as well. Alcantara may historically struggle in the postseason, but with a good start in the last round against the Cubs and hopefully a good start today, he can put all of those previous issues to bed. Let's see if he can get the job done against Shane Baz, one of the best pitchers in the AL, who completely broke out onto the scene this year. Let's take a look at both lineups. No Alec Boehm for the Marlins. He's still recovering from the elbow injury that he suffered prior to Game 1, but he will be available off the bench if needed. Here is Sandy Alcantara, who has started in 2 games here in the postseason. He's pitched in 3. He has a win, a loss, a save, and he's been up and down, but he's coming off a great game against Chicago. We'll see what he can do here as Randy Arozarena bloops it into left field. Nice grab by Brian De La Cruz for the first stat of the inning. Arozarena coming off a strong Game 1. He has become, honestly, one of the best postseason performers really ever. There's Josh Lowe. He draws a walk. Brandon Lau now up with 2 away, and he pops this one up into foul territory. Jacob Berry is under it. He should make the grab, and he will. Good first inning for Sandy Alcantara. He allows a walk, but no further damage. Let's take a look at Shane Baz, who's been a top prospect for a while. It took a little bit for him to figure it out, but here in 2027, boy, has he figured it out. Led the American League in pitching WAR, first-time All-Star. He doesn't have a win to his name in the postseason, but it's not his fault. He's been really good. It seems like he gets no run support, at least in the playoffs, very similarly to Sandy Alcantara in the regular season. Luis Robert draws a walk. Both teams have already drawn walks here in the first inning after Game 1 saw no walks from either team. Kind of ironic. Jazz Chisholm now checks his swing. Umpire says he went around. That's a called strike 3. Isaac Stu, the rookie, with a blooper into left field, and that will drop in front of Arozarena for a base hit. And the Marlins already have 2 runners on base. They only had multiple guys on once in the first game, and they've already got it here in the first inning. Woody Landry with a grounder to third. Quick throw by Paredes over to first. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't try to go for the double play. Not only did he just get the out at first, but he didn't even hesitate. He sent it right over to first base. And now the Marlins have 2 runners in scoring position, an opportunity that they never had in Game 1 of the World Series. And that'll bring up Bichette, who strikes out on the fastball. Shane Baz gets through the first inning. It wasn't pretty. The Marlins had 2 runners in scoring position, but they are also the least clutch team maybe in baseball history. Top 2, Alfredo Herrera strikes out on the circle change. Good pitch by Alcantara. Now facing off against Zach Veen. Rips this one into the right field corner. That ball will drop fair, likely for extra bases. He's aboard to second with a double, and the Rays have the runner on with 1 away and a big opportunity to put themselves on the board first. Big at bat here now with 2 gone for Jonathan Aranda. He's behind 1-2. He's had a great postseason run so far for Tampa Bay, really stepping up for them. But he goes down looking on the circle change. 2 scoreless for Sandy Alcantara, who's allowed a base runner in each of the first 2 innings. But overall, he's looked quite good so far. Let's travel into the bottom of the second inning, see if the Marlins offense can look to respond. With 1 away, it's Jacob Berry with a full count, and he strikes out on the fastball. Good pitch there by Baz, up and away in the strike zone to get him out. Nick Fortes now only hitting 172 here in the postseason. Grounds this one to third. Paredes will make the play. A quick 1-2-3 inning for Shane Baz here in the bottom of the second. And Game 2 is looking a lot like Game 1 early. 2 ace-caliber pitchers on the mound, and so far both of them are once again delivering. Isaac Paredes goes down looking. I don't know what he was waiting for. That pitch was a beauty. Low with 2 away. Pops this one up into no man's land. Bichette is under it. He will make the play. I was a little bit concerned for Sandy Alcantara coming into this game with 12 days rest that he would start slowly, but that clearly has not been the case. He's allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, and no runs through the first 3 innings of this game. Bottom 3, Brian De La Cruz leads things off. He's only hitting 154 here in the postseason. Not good for a guy who was so steady and reliable throughout the season, and he's able to strike out on the high fastball. Full count here for Luis Robert. Walked in his first at-bat. He goes down looking on the slider. It looked like that was going to be inside, but it curves into the strike zone and completely fools him. We'll see if Shane Baz can retire the side against Chisholm. Not quite. That ball is low and inside, and that'll go for a walk. Runner aboard and a full count here with 2 away for the youngster Isaac Stu, and he hits this one hard to second base, but the play is made by Brandon Lau. So the Rays get through the 3rd inning, still scoreless. Just like Game 1, there's not a lot of offense early. Still, into the 4th, Brandon Lau goes down looking on the fastball. Good pitch by Sandy Alcantara, who looks in an absolute groove right now. I don't see how the Rays are going to stop him. Alfredo Herrera goes down on the sinker, and Sandy Alcantara is through 4 scoreless. The postseason choker narrative is slowly but surely going away from him. If he can give the Marlins a few more great innings, I think that narrative from him will be completely gone. Bottom 4, Bo Bichette, 1 away, draws a walk, and he's on base for the first time here in this World Series after missing the first 2 series of the playoffs with an injury. 2-2 here for Jesus Sanchez. Hanging pitch up and away, and he hits it right to short. 6-4-3 double play. That'll turn 2, and that'll end the inning. Through a game and a half, 13 innings here in the World Series, the Marlins have not scored. That's pretty embarrassing. Lucky for them, the Rays haven't scored here in Game 2 either, as Alcantara gets Zach Veen to go down on the 12-6. Veen is the only Tampa Bay Ray with a base hit so far in this game, but it hasn't been much better for the Marlins, who also only have 1 hit. Matt Thais sharply over to third. Berry deflects it. Going to be a tough play. Throw to first in time. Good defense there at the hot corner by Jacob Berry, who is a better defensive player than Alec Bohm, even if the Marlins don't quite trust him enough offensively over Bohm. Jonathan Aranda now up with a full count, hits it sharply to third. Isaac Stu makes the play, sends it over to Alcantara, and he now has 5 scoreless innings on the night for the Marlins. As we go into the bottom of the 5th, still scoreless, still only 1 hit apiece from both of these teams. We'll see if the Marlins can look to get something going here in the 5th inning. Jacob Berry's up, and he rips this one into the gap. That's going to go for extra bases. Finally, some offense. Thank God. Berry is aboard at second with a no-out double, and the Marlins have a runner in scoring position and an opportunity to finally score here in the World Series. Nick Fortes hits this ball high, not super deep though. It's into shallow right center. caught for the first out of the inning. Shane Baz still looking dominant for the most part. So that means the Tampa Bay Rays logically are going to take him out of the game. What are they thinking? Shane Baz has pitched an excellent game today. He's only allowed 3 base runners, 1 since the first inning. His pitch count isn't that high, yet they take him out after 4 1/3 innings. I don't get this at all. This is the same team who took out Blake Snell in the 2020 World Series when he was dominating. This looks like a spitting image of that, if not worse. Luis Patino will come out of the bullpen to replace him. In Tampa Bay's defense, Patino has been very good in the postseason, but this is a horrible decision that could backfire in a major way. Patino's first pitch, he plunks Brian De La Cruz off to a flying start, clearly. And now there's 2 runners on base for the top of the order. Luis Robert has been one of the best players in the postseason, period, this year, as it's a grounder to second. They get 1 and only 1. Luis Robert safe at first. It's a fielder's choice. And now there's 2 runners in the corners and 2 away, and a massive opportunity for Jazz Chisholm, who's behind in the count. 1 and 2. Pitch from Patino, and Chisholm lines this one hard into right field. Veen cannot make the play as it goes off the wall. 1 run scores and only 1. It's an RBI double for Jazz Chisholm. It takes the Marlins nearly 14 innings, but they have finally scored here in the World Series. An RBI double for Jazz Chisholm, who launches an absolute rocket into right field, and the Marlins lead Game 5 1-0. That'll bring up Isaac Stu, 3-1. Ooh, that's a tough one. He's looking to draw the walk there, but now at 3-2, he's got to be a little bit more aggressive, protect the plate. Maybe the biggest at-bat in his career, and he will take the walk after all on the low circle change. And you know what this means, dear God, the bases are loaded. That means the inning is over for the Marlins. Psych! Woody Landry rips this one into the gap, off the wall. 1 run scores, 2 run scores. Can the Marlins clear the bases? The throw to the plate is in time, and Isaac Stu is out to end the inning, but not before Woody Landry drives in 2 runs, and Miami leads it 3-0. Believe it or not, taking Shane Baz out of the game ended up being a horrible decision. Who could have guessed that? Not me. Into the 6th inning, Alcantara will stay in the game, obviously, because our coaching staff isn't filled with morons. He does allow a single, though, to Randy Arozarena. That's the Rays' first base runner since the 2nd inning of the game. Arozarena looks to steal second, and he is out of there! Nick Fortes guns him down, part-time ball player, full-time sniper, and he's feeling himself, rightfully so. So the Rays had a runner on for the first time in 4 innings. Now they don't, because they tried to be aggressive and it backfires as Josh Lowe goes down on the 12-6 curveball. 6 scoreless innings for Sandy Alcantara. He's not showing any signs of slowing down. I don't see why the Marlins don't keep him in for at least 1 more inning. Let's move into the bottom of the 6th inning as Luis Patino looks to regain his now tarnished reputation, really to no fault of his own, as Jesus Sanchez singles into center field, former member of the Rays organization, and the Marlins get another runner aboard. Patino has allowed, I think, 3 hits, and Shane Baz only allowed 2. I mean, that should tell you everything you need to know. Nick Fortes flies this one into right field, should be caught by Veen, and it will. Better 6th inning here for Luis Patino. He doesn't allow any more runs, but the Marlins still with a commanding 3-0 lead, and Sandy Alcantara, who does not look like he is going to be slowing down in the near future. Top 7, 2 away. Full count for the catcher, Alfredo Herrera. He won the World Series MVP last year, but he's been quiet in this series. Rips it up the middle for a base hit. That's his first hit of the World Series, and Tampa Bay gets another runner aboard here. They're starting to hit the ball a little bit better. Still obviously not good, but better than they were, I guess. Zach Veen, 2-2, rips this one past the diving glove of Isaac Stu, and that'll go for a base hit. Okay, now things get interesting. The Rays with back-to-back hits. They have 2 guys on, and a huge at-bat for the number 7 hitter, that being Matt Theus, who had 2 hits in the last game, drove in a run, hits this one nicely into left field. De La Cruz under it. He will make the play. 126 pitches for Sandy Alcantara. He throws 7 scoreless here in Game 2 of the World Series. That postseason choker narrative he had is gone. What a performance from Sandy, with his pitch count getting high and allowing 3 hits over the last 2 innings. He likely will not return for the 8th. Luis Patino still in the game, and I'll give him credit. He is pitching quite a bit better as he strikes out Brian De La Cruz. That'll bring up Luis Robert, who lines this one nicely into right field. Veen at the track, at the wall. It's gone! Solo home run for Luis Robert, and the Marlins add to their lead. It's now 4-0. Robert with his team-leading 5th home run of the postseason, and that ties Randy Arozarena for the most home runs of any player in this year's playoffs. What a swing for Luis Robert, who gets the Marlins' first home run of the World Series. I would have preferred for it to be earlier than the 7th inning of Game 2, but you'll take what you can get. From there, Patino will be taken out of the game, and he'll be replaced by Garrett Clevenger. At least with Luis Patino, he was performing well in the postseason. I can't say the same for Garrett Clevenger, who has an ERA in the 12s. Not ideal. Jazz Chisholm's up. He's coming off a big at-bat in his previous plate appearance, driving in the first run of the game. He does strike out there on the slider. 2 away. That'll bring up Isaac Stu, and he reaches base for a 3rd time today. And he's done it a little bit unconventionally, has a couple of walks, but he's getting on. That'll bring up Woody Landry, who had a big hit himself in the last at-bat, driving in 2 runs. He's ahead 3-1, and he rips this one into left center. Lefty on lefty crime. Woody has struggled against lefties this year, but he connects on another double. Isaac Stu will not be sent home because the last time we did that, well, he ended up being thrown out. So he's going to be held up at 3rd, 2 runners in scoring position, and Bo Bichette will be intentionally walked. Obviously, the Rays are doing this so they can get a force out at all 3 bases, but I would like to think the Rays are doing this because they know the Marlins are going to screw this up because the bases are loaded. Well, they're going to bring out an Alec Bohm, the most clutch hitter on the roster, replacing Jesus Sanchez. If it was a righty on the mound, Sanchez probably stays in, but since it's a lefty, the Marlins bring in Bohm, and that proves to be a good decision as he singles into right field. Run scores. The bases are still loaded, but it's now 5-0. I'm not as scared that the bases are loaded now because here in the World Series, the Marlins are 2 for 2 with the bases loaded so far. The Rays are going to go to their 3rd pitcher of the inning. Shocker, the guy with an ERA of 12 struggled, and he'll be replaced by the former Marlin Sixto Sanchez, who returns to Lone Depot Park for the first time since he was traded away a few years ago. He will strike out Jacob Berry, and the Rays get through the 7th. Miami leads the bases loaded. Wow, shocker. But they scored 2 runs, and they lead it 5-0 in comfortable position to win Game 2 and tie the World Series up at 1. Let's move into the 8th inning now. The Marlins will make a pitching change as Camilo Doval will come into the game. In 6 postseason innings, he's allowed 3 runs so far. He's been a little bit up and down, but over his last few appearances, he's been quite good. And as long as the Marlins don't completely shoot themselves in the foot, you'd think they'd be fine. Good defense here by Brian De La Cruz, who has moved over to right field with Jesus Sanchez being pinch hit for. 2 gone now for Arozarena. He strikes out on the cutter. And the Marlins have 8 scoreless innings. We'll see if they can finish the game off strong as they still lead it 5-0. Let's go bottom 8. Sixto Sanchez remains in the game, and he's looking pretty good. Facing off against Luis Robert, who just homered. And he hits this one high, not quite as deep in right field. Veen in foul territory comes down with it. And so the Marlins hold on to a 5-0 lead as we move into the 9th inning. Let's see if Miami can win their first World Series game since 2003. It is time for Paul Sewald to pitch. Sewald will throw the 9th inning. He's allowed 3 runs in 4 1/3 postseason innings, but similarly to Doval, he's pitched better as the month of October's gone along. Lowe hits this one into no man's land, but Bichette does a good job of tracking it down for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up well-known child respecter Wander Franco, and he strikes out on the fastball. The Marlins are down to 1 more out. It's Brandon Lau. Hit sharply to 3rd. Jazz Chisholm scoops it up, makes the play, and that's your ball game. The Miami Marlins win it 5-0, and they tie the World Series up at 1. This ended up being a really similar game to Game 1, in the sense that both starting pitchers pitched really well, but one team was able to get offense late, and thankfully that team was us. A brilliant performance from Sandy Alcantara, 7 scoreless innings, He looked absolutely phenomenal, and over his last 2 postseason starts, he's thrown 14 innings of one-run ball, and again, that one run never should have scored if not for poor defense. I don't think Alcantara's performance, though, is really the story of this game. I think the big story is the Rays' decision to take out Shane Baz as early as they did. At the time, it looked like a really stupid decision, and in hindsight, it proved to be even stupider than we could have expected. Luis Patino was put into a really unfortunate position, and he did not pitch well, and I can't really blame him because the Rays should have never put him in to begin with. Now, I don't want to blame the Rays pitching entirely for the loss because their offense sucked. They had 4 hits, 1 extra base hit, 5 base runners total, and they only had 1 inning with multiple runners on. So it's not like maybe that decision costed them the game entirely, but I still think that was a major mistake. And if they keep Shane Baz in, maybe things end up a little bit different. As for the Marlins, the offense was up and down, but that's better than we can say for Game 1. That 5th inning, we had some big hits with 2 outs. Jazz Chisholm with the RBI double. Woody Landry driving in 2 runs. Woody Landry was the only Marlin with multiple hits today. And then in the 7th inning, Luis Robert going deep. Bohm driving in a run. And we're coming off a game where we had no walks. This game we had 6. The plate discipline was a lot better offensively. And then Sandy Alcantara, need I say more? The numbers speak for themselves. He, again, was brilliant in this performance, getting the win. So we end up splitting the first 2 games at home. I suppose it could be worse, especially considering how poorly the offense played in Game 1. Now it becomes a 5-game series. Tampa Bay has 3 at home. Both teams have used their top 2 starters, and now these next few games are going to come down to the middle of the rotation, and that starts with Game 3. Jeffrey Springs, the former Tampa Bay Ray, on the mound against the righty Taj Bradley. The last time Jeffrey Springs pitched in this building was last year's World Series. Springs was one of the starters for the 2026 Tampa Bay Rays team that took it all the way and won the championship. Now, a year later, the Rays are back in the World Series, but Springs is on the other side, pitching against his former team, looking to help the Marlins win a championship and thus his 2nd consecutive World Series title. Both pitching staffs have been really good in the first 2 games with a pair of shutouts. We've seen Shane McClanahan and Sandy Alcantara pitch brilliant performances, while Edward Cabrera and Shane Baz also pitched great, but did not have the run support to back them up. Taj Bradley is a talented young arm who was a top prospect, and similarly to Shane Baz this year, really had a great season. Maybe not as good as Baz, but was still very productive. Alec Bohm is a little bit banged up, but he is back in the lineup starting at third base as we take a look at Taj Bradley, who's been pretty solid in 2 postseason starts, 1-1, 3.65 ERA, 1.54 whip. I wouldn't say those are great numbers, but certainly not bad by any stretch. Luis Robert is up with 2 away and a full count. Robert possibly one of the early favorites to win World Series MVP if the Marlins take it all the way, as he flies out to right. Quick 1-2-3 inning for Bradley as it's caught by Nino Murillo, who is getting the start for Tampa Bay because of the pitching matchup since Jeffrey Springs is a lefty. Springs is 2-0 in 2 postseason starts. He's coming off a Game 3 of the NLCS against the Cubs where he was brilliant. 7 scoreless innings, and we'll see if he can get another win today. And this is not a particularly good start. Tommy Edman at the top of the order for Tampa Bay rips this one into the gap. That'll go for a double. Edman's pretty fast, so the Rays have one of their speedier base runners in scoring position with nobody out, and after not scoring in Game 2, they've got an opportunity to tack on some runs early in Game 3. Nino Murillo flies out to right. It's caught by Sanchez with a great throw to third base, but Edman is safe, and now the Rays have the run 90 feet away from home plate. The Child Predator is up with a runner at third as he grounds it to second. Run scores, and Chisholm's throw is offline. So Wander Franco is safe at first. The Rays would have gotten the run in anyway since there's only 1 out. But that's a bad error from Jazz Chisholm, and the Rays will potentially look to capitalize as Brandon Lau goes down on the slider. 2 away now. That'll bring up a Rosarena. He hits this one sharply into left field. That one will roll to the wall and could go for extra bases. Wander Franco will round third, heading home. The throw from Bichette is in time. They got him. Good defense by Brian De La Cruz and Bo Bichette to throw out Franco, who will take a seat on the dugout. I'm sure it wouldn't be the first time he's been told to take a seat. Nonetheless, the Rays score here in the first inning after not scoring at all in Game 2, and so they lead it 1-0. Top 2, Woody Landry up the middle for a base hit, and the Marlins start the inning with a runner aboard. Woody Landry's had some hot and cold stretches throughout the postseason. It looks like he's starting to heat up, though, which is very exciting. Alec Bohm rips this one down the line. That could go for extra bases as it rolls to the corner. Woody Landry will hold up at third, and with one out, the Marlins have multiple runners in scoring position and a great opportunity to add some runs. That'll bring up Jesus Sanchez. He's behind in the count 1-2. Really just has to put the ball in play, and he does exactly that. Solidly hit into right center field. It is going to be caught. Runners will look to tag up. Woody Landry safe at third. Alec Bohm safe at third. And so it's a sacrifice fly for Jesus Sanchez. And the Marlins tie it at 1. For the first time here in this World Series, both teams score in the same game. And they do it within the first 2 innings. Nick Fortes gets a great pitch to swing, but he only grounds out to short. It could have been a little bit better there. We could have gotten another runner in, but at least we get one and are able to tie the game. Let's go into the bottom of the second inning. Shaky start for Jeffrey Springs as he faces off against Isaac Paredes with a rocket over to first. 105 off the bat. Woody Landry comes down with the line out. One away now for Alfredo Herrera. He hits this one well into center field. Luis Robert makes a good angle on the ball. Herrera is going to look to head for second anyway, and he is safe as the throw is a little bit offline. And so Alfredo Herrera is in scoring position, and the Rays have an opportunity to get the lead back. Zach Veen chases the slider. Good pitch by Jeffrey Springs, his second K of the day, both of which have been with the outside slider. And then with Matt Thais, he sends an outside fastball, grounds it to second. Jazz Chisholm will actually make the throw this time. You could tell he looked awfully focused as he was throwing that ball to first. And through 2 innings, tied at 1. Pretty good game so far as we move into the third. Isaac Stu is up with a full count and 1 out, and he will go down looking. He thought that pitch was a little bit high. Unfortunately, does not get the call. That'll bring up Jazz Chisholm looking to make up for his poor defensive play, and instead he gets hit. I mean, that's one way to reach base. So after getting plunked by Bradley, Chisholm is on board. 2-2 count with 2 away for Luis Robert. And he strikes out on the fastball. Great pitch right down the middle. And that ball blew right by him. Robert never had a chance to touch that one. And so Bradley is through 3. He's looked pretty solid for the most part as we go bottom 3. Tommy Edman up for Tampa Bay. He strikes out on the fastball. Edman doubled and scored in his first at-bat. The Rays haven't gotten too much offense since that first inning, though. Wander Franco, 2-2. Hits this one into center field. Luis Robert chases after it. He will make the play. Tied at 1 through 3. It's been a fun start, and I think both pitchers do look pretty good so far. We'll see if either team can potentially take the lead here in the fourth. Bichette, who still does not have a hit yet in the World Series, goes down looking on the fastball. Good pitch by Bradley. 2 away now for Alec Bohm, who got a hit in his first at-bat, and he's ahead in the count 3-1. Bohm hits this one high and pretty deep into center field, but it doesn't quite make it to the track as it will be caught. The Marlins' offense still not getting much going since that second inning, as it remains tied at 1. Let's go bottom 4. Brandon Lau leads things off for the Rays, and he goes down looking on the fastball. Springs is getting a lot of these left-handed hitters to get fooled by some of these outside pitches. I think he's had really good command of the strike zone today. That'll bring up Randy Arozarena. Had a hit in his first at-bat, and it looks like he'll get another one here. The exact same placement as his first hit. Sharply into left, rolls to the corner, and that'll go for a double. Tampa Bay is one of their faster base runners in scoring position, and a nice opportunity to get the lead. That'll bring up Isaac Paredes. He grounds this one over to short. Bichette's throw to first is way offline over Woody Landry's head. So another error from the Marlins defense, and now there's runners on the corners with 1 away. These mental errors for Miami are worse than Wander Franco's decision-making around a middle school. Alfredo Herrera flies this one into foul territory. Sanchez makes the play. Run scores off the sacrifice, though, and it's now 2-1. Arozarena never should have scored there. That should be the end of the inning, if not for a horrible throw by Bichette. Zach Veen is up now, 1-2. He rips this one into right field. That's going to drop past Sanchez and roll all the way to the wall. Runner rounds third, heads home. That's Paredes. He is safe. An RBI double for Zach Veen. It's now 3-1. There's another run caused by the error from Bichette. Matt Thayes is up now. He hits this one into right. That'll go for a hit. Veen looks to score. Sanchez with a bullet to home plate. He is easily out. But the Rays add 2 runs, 2 unearned runs, thanks to a throwing error by Bo Bichette, who has given the other team more runs because of his defense here in the World Series than from his own bat. Miami gets one right back, though, to start the top of the 5th. Jesus Sanchez launches a bomb into right center field, his second home run of the postseason, 110 off the bat, nearly going 430 feet. And Miami cuts the lead in half down to 1. Big swing for Jesus Sanchez, who just threw out a runner looking to score. And on offense, he makes a big play with his bat. 3-2 ball game now. Brian De La Cruz is up. Lines this one into right. That one will bounce over the fence for a ground rule double. And Miami's got a runner in scoring position with one away. The tying run to be exact. 2 gone now for Jazz Chisholm. He strikes out on the changeup, frustrated with himself. Taj Bradley and the Rays hold on to their lead, but the Marlins get one back from Sanchez. Let's go bottom 5 now. Hopefully no more errors from the Marlins defense as Tommy Edman rips this one past the diving glove of Jazz Chisholm for a base hit into right. Ever since the error by Bichette, Tampa Bay's offense has caught fire. I think that play really ignited them, and Springs, who looked so good before that play, is really starting to struggle. Nino Murillo, single into right field. I imagine Springs' leash has to be pretty short. If not, this might be it for him. He's allowed a ton of hits over the last few bats, and as you can see, manager Skip Shoemaker is going to come out and remove him from the game. I feel like Springs was dealt a bad hand in this game because he looked really good through the first 3+ innings, but then the Rays get some momentum thanks to a bad defensive play to no fault of his own, and he really started to struggle after that. He'll be replaced out of the bullpen by Mr. Reliable, Reynaldo Lopez, who has not pitched yet in the World Series. We'll see what he can do here. He's only allowed 1 run in 5 innings so far. And he starts off in a little bit of a jam because the Rays got 2 early runners on. Full count for Brandon Lau. He goes down looking on the low fastball. Big pitch there by Lopez. He's got to get another one, though, and that'll bring up Randy Arozarena. Who else would the Rays want up here? And he goes down on the slider. Big pitch by Reynaldo Lopez, who strikes out Arozarena. And the Marlins are going to hold Tampa Bay off the scoreboard here in the 5th as it remains a 3-2 Rays lead. Still a lot of time to clean this up, and the Marlins offense has been solid enough today. Bradley's taken out of the game. He was pretty solid overall through 5 innings, and he'll be replaced by the former Marlins Sixto Sanchez, who pitched quite well in Game 2. He faces off against Luis Robert, who strikes out on the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Woody Landry up now with 1 away. Landry coming off a 2-hit game in Game 2. And he gets his second hit of the game into the opposite field. I don't know why teams put on a big shift against Woody Landry. He's a great opposite field hitter, as that ends up being a double. Runner in scoring position for Bo Bichette, who's got to do something offensively at some point here in the World Series. Hits this one into right center, and it drops for a hit. Finally, Bo Bichette with his first hit of the World Series, and Woody Landry makes it over to third base. The Marlins have runners on the corners and a great opportunity to get some runs. The one thing that Alec Bohm cannot do here is put the ball on the ground, and he puts the ball on the ground. 6-4-3, double play, inning over. Tampa Bay holds on to their lead. Clutch defense from the Rays. As we go bottom 6, Lopez will stay in the game. He'll face off against Isaac Paredes, who lines it to first. Landry blocks it with his glove, and the throw is going to be in time. Good play by Landry. Now the Marlins are going to take him out of the game. Odd timing. I guess they're trying to mess with the Rays a little bit. He'll be replaced by the 22-year-old rookie Andres Vina, who's pitched pretty well in the postseason. He hasn't pitched yet in the World Series. This is his first Fall Classic appearance. He's allowed 2 runs in just under 7 innings of work here in the postseason as he faces off against Alfredo Herrera. The 1-2, and Herrera crushes this ball into left center. Welcome to the World Series, Rook. 1 hops off the wall. That'll go for a double. And the Rays get a runner in scoring position as they look to potentially add to their lead. With Herrera on second base, that'll bring up Zach Veen. Count is 2-2. Pitch from Vina. And he gets him on the check swing. Umpire says he went around. That pitch might have been in the strike zone anyway to begin with. Matt Theus now. Full count. He draws a walk. Ooh, that was a close one. But this time, Vina does not get the call. 2 runners in scoring position. 2 outs. Nice opportunity for Otami Edman, who has 2 hits today. And he grounds this one to first. Woody Landry will take it to the base himself as Vina gets out of the jam, and it remains 3-2. The Marlins need to get something going sooner than later. Yes, they're only down by 1, but they've only got 3 innings to complete this comeback. Garrett Clevenger in the game for Tampa Bay. I don't know why they keep putting him in. He has been dreadful in the postseason. He's coming off a horrible Game 2 performance against the Marlins. I don't get what they see in him. De La Cruz is up, 3-1 count. Grounder over to second. Okay, maybe that's what they see in him. 1-2-3 inning as he retires the side. And the Rays end up making me look kind of stupid. Let's go bottom 7. Tampa Bay still with their lead. The Marlins pitching looking to keep them out of wraps as Camilo Doval comes into the game. He threw a scoreless inning in Game 2, looking to do the same here in Game 3 of the World Series as he will face off against Nino Murillo. He hits this one sharply into center for a hit. Murillo coming into this game only had 8 postseason at-bats, but he was 4 for 8. And his .500 batting average for the playoffs will stick. He ended up going 2 for 4 today, 6 for 12 total. That'll bring up Wander Franco, grounded to first. It's going to be a 3-6-1 double play. Those 3 numbers add up to 10. That might be Wander Franco's favorite number. That'll bring up Brandon Lau, 2-2. Hits this one solidly into left center. Brian De La Cruz is under it, and he will make the play. Through 7, it remains 3-2. We have not had any offense since the solo home run by Jesus Sanchez back in the 5th inning. Jason Adam comes into the game here for Tampa Bay in the 8th inning. So now the Rays are going to bring in their good relievers in the back end of the bullpen, and this is a little bit frightening. Luckily, the Marlins have the top of the order due up. That starts with Isaac Stu, 0 for 3 today. He strikes out on the fastball, 97, pretty much right down the middle. 2 away now for Luis Robert. He's been quiet in this game, 0 for 3. Has a full count, though. Looking to keep his hit streak going, and he does not. Goes down on the low slider. Probably would have been a walk, too, if he let it go, but he was trying to be aggressive, as he's been throughout the entire postseason, and this time around it backfires. It's time for Paul Sewald to pitch here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Sewald, like Duvall, pitched a scoreless inning in Game 2, and he will look to do the same here in Game 3. Randy Arozarena with a grounder to Bichette, who blocks it, kind of. That'll go for a single, and the Rays start the inning with one of their faster runners on base. Arozarena was caught stealing in Game 2. Might be a little bit less aggressive to run as Paredes strikes out. That'll bring up Alfredo Herrera. He will strike out as well. Herrera's had a nice day, 2 hits. 2 for 2 to be exact. He also had a walk. Zach Veen is up now with Arozarena headed for second. And once again, he is out of there! Nick Fortes guns him down. I looked at the replay. I thought he was safe. It definitely looked like he was safe in real time. But, hey, we are not complaining. Here's another look. It definitely looks like he was safe. I don't know what the umpire is seeing here. Maybe the umpire wants to make this as interesting and climactic of a 9th inning as possible. Devin Williams, the former Marlin, is in for the save against his old squad. 3 for 3 in save ops here in the postseason, including Game 1 of the World Series, as he faces off against Woody Landry with a sharp grounder over to right center. That'll go for a hit. That's a good start. Tying runners on base with nobody out. Let's keep it going. So Woody is aboard, his 3rd hit of the game, by the way. That'll bring up Bo Bichette. Big opportunity here for Bo, and he gets cooked by the screwball. What a pitch by Devin Williams. That'll bring up Alec Bohm now, who is ahead in the count, 3-1. He's got a chance to be the potential winning run, and he will take the walk. Okay, the winning run is on base. The Marlins will bring in a pinch runner for him. It's the speedster, Esteury Ruiz. He is on first. Landry's on second. Jesus Sanchez has had a nice day today, driving in both Marlins runs, but he pops this one up into the infield, slamming the bat in frustration as it's caught by Isaac Paredes. That'll bring up Jacob Berry, who's into the game as a pinch hitter for Fortes. 2-1. Berry flies this one into foul territory. Going to be a close play. Rosarena makes the grab. And the Tampa Bay Rays win Game 3 of the World Series, and they will take a 2-1 series lead. So the two teams end up splitting the two games today. Tampa Bay holding on to a one-game lead. The magic number now 2 for Tampa Bay as they look to win their second consecutive World Series. And now the Marlins are going to have to win 3 of their next 4 if they want to get the job done. This ended up being kind of a weird game. I thought it was going to be a lot more high scoring than the first 2, but we didn't have any runs scored after the top of the 5th inning. If not for that Bo Bichette error in the 4th, we probably end up winning this game. That error directly resulted in 2 runs scoring for the Rays. They didn't score after that, but they didn't need to. Springs gets the loss, which is, again, completely undeserved. The offense was a little bit bleh, however. Woody Landry had 3 hits. He was good. Jesus Sanchez went 2 for 3 with a sac fly and a homer. He was good. Everybody else just sat on their hands and did nothing, though. The rest of the team combined for 3 hits. Springs, I thought, was really good, but once the error happens, he just didn't look like the same guy. The bullpen did a great job of keeping this game close, but it didn't matter because, again, the offense lets us down, and the defense let us down, too. Tampa Bay really did not hit the ball well after the 4th inning, but early in this game, they did hit it well. 2 hits for Edman and Murillo. Rosarena had 3. Herrera, Veen, and Franco all drive-in runs. Taj Bradley had a good start. He gets the win, only allowing 2 runs in 5 innings, and the bullpen does a great job of slamming the door. Although it got a little bit close there in that 9th inning, Devin Williams, we know he hasn't been the best this year, and that carried over into this game, but he gets the job done, and thus the Rays lead the World Series 2-1. So the Marlins are once again down, and we've got a big decision to make with Game 4. This is a similar spot we had in the NLCS, only difference is we led 3-0, so there's a lot more pressure to make the right decision with who pitches. We decided to throw in Max Meyer for Game 4 of the NLCS, and that didn't really work out. Meyer, who had not pitched in 2.5 months before that game, really struggled, and the bullpen did a really good job after he was taken out. So the Marlins have a few choices. Do you try Meyer out again, who was great this year when he was healthy? Do you go for the bullpen game? Do you consider maybe using Edward Cabrera on super short rest and try to get like 5 innings out of him? The Marlins have some options here. Let me know what you think we should do for Game 4. We'll also play Game 5 in the next episode. So theoretically, if the Rays win both of those games, they win the World Series. We have to win at least 1 in the next episode to keep our season alive. Can we do it? Let me know again down below in the comments. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.